This is the start of the episode, so probably you're only going to see this if you're watching it on the back end. Thanks for that. We're going to start this off with a little montage because we're excited to be launching our second major event partnered with Coastal Wargaming live. It's going to be at Battlegrounds. It's going to say live because we're always live there. The best gaming store on earth here in Midlothian, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. So check out this montage. We get this thing started and get everybody joining us for the party for episode 78 of our live talk show every Thursday. Shablam. I just turned down the music, got the video still playing. For whatever reason, I don't see us on YouTube quite yet.
We are there. We are live.
Oh, yeah, you guys checking it out? Cool. For just on my end then. Yeah, you guys are seeing right now, those are the tables. You guys got to see a little walkthrough there of 64 people up in Battlegrounds where we took over the store for 2 days. You can see all the merchandise the store has. It is one of the largest stores in Virginia and even in the surrounding states. There's the old view of the stream rig there. Everything's been reorganized and pimped up. There's Tumby visiting from New Zealand for last event. We had James down and Kevin. But you can see all that awesome terrain that all matches the mats. That's Coastal Wargaming there coming strong. And that's all going to be back again for February 22nd. So I got
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. I'm super pumped. I got the new flyer right here. I'll show you guys here. Blam.
The CWG guys, man, they came out in force last time. That was awesome on their part.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's gonna be strong, man. I'm really looking forward to it to come do it again. I think we're gonna do it bigger and better. You know, we definitely some things that were learned from the first go around, and I think there's only room to make it even better than last time. So I'm really looking forward to it. There's Poxus. That's right. We got to meet Poxus. That was James's first matchup. That was Todd there. Get this
was a
awesome
good
death
time.
guard. Yeah, I hope we get to see you come out again, man. It's gonna be super dope.
Yeah, that was the dude that had the dreads with the death guard.
Yeah, they're really good looking. It was like kind
They
of
were awesome.
they were like the old school colors.
I think that was my like game 4 or 5 actually. As I
You,
played him as well.
yeah, you did end up playing it too, Chris. But what's up, everybody? Got us on camera there. There's James. There's Chris. This is me, George, and we're back again, doing it the home style. We'll jump between doing it in our big rig from the store, where I got a little bit more tips and tricks up my sleeve there to show you guys some content. But we do this every week religiously. It's Halloween. So, I mean, despite it being a holiday, we all kind of got it in, and now we're here ready to do the show as per usual. I hope everybody is out there watching right now in some sort of good mindset, whether you've had a glass of wine or you're in costume still and having a good time, or you're just catching on the back end because you're trick-or-treating or dancing or something. That's always cool, too. James, you said you went trick-or-treating in the snow, dude, right?
Oh, yeah. We
That's
got
crazy.
like 6 inches of snow today.
It was like hot. It was hot walking around here.
Yeah.
Oh, it was pouring over here.
Crazy.
Nuts. Yeah, we're actually getting a storm rolling in pretty strong right now, so there is a slight chance that things might go haywire with a lost power or something like that. Here's hoping that doesn't go down. Yeah, don't want that. But yeah, this past week has been crazy yet again. What's coming up this weekend is Saturday is Kill Team Tournament, so looking forward to that. Been filming a buttload of Infinity, as anybody that's been checking out the channel has known. So looking forward to get some Kill Team content out there. And then Sunday, following that right up with Warcry. And I'm pumped because we got another round 2 of the GW medals for Warcry. So we're going to have the really sick medals to give away. I was able to take home the gold last time. I was super hungry for it. I was running my double bird last time with the Gaunt Summoner on a disc. This time, James still got my birdie, so I'm going to be trying to get creative and do something different. Plus, I don't necessarily need 2 golds. You know, I'll give people a chance. Ooh, pat my back. I'm just saying, double birds with the Corvus Cabal was pretty sick. With the Gaunt Summoner on a disc, the Warp Flame tongue that thing has is out of control, man. It's a really good ability.
Cheese it up.
Or it's the I always say Warp Flame Tongue. It's the Warp Tongue Blade is what he carries. But yeah, in that game in Warcry, everybody's abilities is based on your dice like pool. Like before each turn begins, you roll 6 dice, and those create your destiny, your pool that you're able to access your abilities from. And on your card for every you'll have like I think it's 6 abilities roughly for each faction, and it'll be like doubles, triples, and quads abilities. And only certain models have access to certain doubles, triples, or quad abilities. And you'll roll those 6 dice, and you'll see how many doubles and triples and quads you get. And whatever's not a double, a triple, or a quad is the singles. And the person with the most singles that didn't equal any doubles or triples or whatever is going to dictate the initiative for the round. But yeah, so it's you rarely roll a quad. And so abilities that you can do with doubles or triples are more accessible, and the better a double or a triple ability is, the more often you're going to get to do it. And on the Gaunt Summoner on a disc, he moves 10 inches, so it's a platform that can really haul ass and drop this real big nasty power on people. So it's a fun game. It's a fun game. I enjoy Warcry. Look forward to doing some different events this weekend.
Have you gone against any monsters in that game yet?
They're only against some beasts. I haven't got to go against like the big giant ones, like the Minotaur and the Chimera. I've only got to go against the little Furies, little winged gargoyle guys. Nothing too crazy. Some of the missions though, you end up you'll put down these beasts at random, and they make them have a wound profile of like a big ass hero. So even though they were small little beasts, they were like really tough to kill ones. And it's fun because you end up, whoever gets the priority for the turn can choose to activate the beast. But if they activate him and they have to roll a dice, and if they roll like a 1, then all of a sudden the beast turns on them, and I get to control them instead. And it can be pretty funny. I've had it.
Oh.
I've had it like turn one. Somebody's went to control the beast, and then the beast fucking they rolled the one. I attacked all their guys in their deployment zone, and then that pretty much like determined the whole game as they rolled a one at the very beginning and got chewed up by beast the whole time. It was funny. Good times. Good times. Yeah, man. Looking forward to the future of Warp Charge. Been doing a lot of thinking and reflecting and kind of getting a plan together to get disciplined. I don't know, it's been since Nova. I feel like the wheels have been a little bit off the bus for all of us. Like Chris moved out to a different location and kind of getting that kind of life situation going on, and then James is been painting like crazy and trying to get caught up after we all spent a bunch of cash trying to go to Nova and have a good time on a budget. But all of us been trying to make that cheese, stack it up again. So
Damn right.
it's there's a lot of getting organized and getting disciplined with the process. I'm looking forward to. I'm about to set up a whole bunch of. We're going to start being a lot more vocal and doing more social media posts. Giving you guys an insight on the daily and showing some cool things we find on the web and things of that nature. But just being more vocal about all the game systems. And that's one thing I need to get organized with is as like the guy creating the content for the most part. I'm like been head over heels with Infinity, been totally obsessed, and I spent a month like totally diving in head first and ignoring everything else. And that's been well enough now that I'm going on February 9th next weekend. I'm going to the Baltimore Brawl. I'm doing my first like traveling major event for Infinity, and I'm really looking forward to that. Going with the community here, so that'll be my first time like hanging with the RVA Infinity boys and throwing down and showing what we got up in Baltimore. So I'm really looking forward to that. I had a breakthrough, with the game over these past couple weeks of being able to like win consistently and see find the balance of a list that like fits my play style and not going too much. Like I found learning that game that it was a lot of pendulum swinging. Where like you would whether it's heavy combat, heavy shooting, heavy infiltration, heavy camo, just like whatever kind of abilities my army had access to, I would run several games of like an entire spam of a concept and just kind of so I could get to see what it does as best I could or see where its negatives were, and then I would have those hybrid configurations of taking kind of two major blocks of concepts and mixing them together and going through those different combinations. And I think I've found a very good all-comer situation for the 4 missions at hand. In the Infinity tournament scene, there's 20 missions, so each tournament each one is pretty wildly different, and you build your list accordingly. So I think I found my spot, and I've done a lot of practice, and there's going to be a lot more practice this upcoming week, and I'm really excited to go compete and participate. It's going to be fun, man.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
actually kind of something with Infinity that I was curious about, especially with you defining your list as like gravitating from spammy to like more hybridized concepts is like you kind of answered the question already, but like you mentioned it becoming more of an all-comer situation. I was wondering how much the list gravitated in terms of like hyper-focusing on what your army does. It's always good to hear when it's like you're not as effective, like being like, let me run all cavalry. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, totally. Yeah. And unfortunately, because I definitely tried to make like all 9 dogs. Like it's in any most games, like if you make the one-trick pony, or you make like a spam of like, let's say you make a spam of toughness 8, or you make a spam of invulns, or spam of infantry. There's usually like that'll do really well against most things. But there's still those circumstances of where if I end up in this situation, it's not going to be worth any good. And usually like that, the more defined or refined tournament list is one that can kind of answer all the problems you could potentially go up against. Because as we know, if you want to go to the tippity top, there's certain factors. Like in Infinity, what's really interesting in big change up was that I went from trying to just win to trying to win big. Because in the Infinity tournament season or circuit, it's like you have major victory, minor victory, and you have to have a 5 point lead on your opponent to be able to get a major victory. And the person that won Baltimore Brawl last year had 3 majors and 1 minor. So a 5-point lead in this. Imagine that there's only 7 or 8 points at most. Sometimes there's only 6 or 7 to be had. So you got to like literally crush them to be able to get these major victories. So I tried to, and the only way you're going to do that is by, there's several, but like by playing the mission primarily is going to be the means. And the person that has the most focus on the mission is going to be the one that pulls it out. So what's interesting topic is that what you're mentioning here is because in Infinity you can bring 2 lists. You do bring 2 lists. And so you have 2 different ways to create the variety of how you're going to deal with the meta or the missions. And some people will build their second list based on an opponent, like a certain opponent type. And it really takes a know thy enemy when you're building this way, because you got to know what kind of tools your enemy could have. Because the only thing you get to know when you go up against them at the table is what faction they're playing. So if you don't have a great reference in your mind of what kind of tools that you don't want to see that they have access to, because they may have 1 or 2 of these things, or they may have a lot of access to these things, and there's certain types of camouflage that have high modifications, like there's optical disruptors that make you -6 to hit them, and on top of that, if they have that plus camouflage, they can be -9, upwards of -12 on a D20, and it can be nearly impossible to hit certain things. And to deal with those type of guys, you need like close combat, you need flamethrowers and things that automatically hit. And so you may have a list that's dedicated to dealing with those kind of things, but it's only going to be effective if you know that your opponent actually brought that to the table in the first place, which you won't until after they deploy. And even then, if their things are in camouflage, you still don't even know what they are until they reveal them in the
Still got to figure it out.
Yeah. So you've already picked your list before you have any idea, unless you have a great idea of what their faction could potentially bring. And the people that I've been playing with are encyclopedias of factions. Like they've been playing. One guy's been playing 10 years, and he can. A lot of the best players, they have every army. So they know what every army's like and what they play with, and you generally know who the warlord is hiding amongst everything, and so it's an uphill battle against that kind of thing.
Certainly.
Another deal is that apparently something I'm yet to experience. At Battlegrounds, we're blessed with badass tables, super thick and properly terrained. But at these big, large tournaments, oftentimes you can end up on a table that is very subpar.
Sparse.
And so some people will build lists based on the tables. They'll build a list that's all close range midfield, and they'll build a range that's like, I'm just going to sit back and shoot because it's a fucking killing ground.
That's actually something I wanted to inquire about. I mean, you literally answered it, because I was curious about kind of the terrain situation with Infinity. But I feel like right now, especially in 40K, the state of the terrain game is a big factor right now, I think, in a lot of online discussion with the community, especially since, the ITC has taken their more recent stance on the whole bases, like with repulsors and the Necron barges and whatnot, not being able to get in ruins and whatnot. You have a lot of really, really kind of I mean, the terrain rules, I think, in 8th edition have always been a little bit subpar. But I think we're at a point now, especially with the codex creep compounding the issue, where you have a lot of people going come on, Games Workshop, just clean up the terrain rules.
Man, doesn't it sound exciting and fun? Wouldn't it be awesome to be able to bring 2 lists to a tournament for 40K based on these same things? You couldn't see their list until you picked, you'd see the table, you'd hear their faction, you'd see the mission, and, even pick your secondary, picking secondaries would be hard. Maybe you don't pick secondaries yet, but you see the mission, you see the opponent's faction, and you see the table, and then you would pick one of 2 lists. Sounds fucking great, doesn't it?
I agree. My only question there starts becoming how allies work in that system. Does your secondary list become an Imperium list?
It'd be same faction. It'd have to be same faction.
Okay. If it was under that metric, I kind of like it. I don't have a problem with it. I am a little bit hesitant about the list being unknown, but that's something that I think the community and I would get over with it just being in practice.
Isn't it kind of cool to reward and respect the opponent that knows that enemy that well, though? It's like, oh, you're playing Tyranids? I know what I'm going to do.
Certainly.
You know? And what's scary, though, is like Tyranids, and some are so vast. You know, like if they said Tyranids and Genestealer Cult or Force of the Hive Mind, you don't know what the fuck you're up against.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's part of why I was asking in terms of allies, because, you know, for example, if you go to like keyword Chaos or keyword Imperium, I mean, you could have a list that's like Admech and another one that's like Iron Hands. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, this could literally not even be close to similar.
Right, exactly. Yeah, what do you think about that, James?
I just run corn. So always going to be just pure salt.
You don't see that, like, would there be any factors that would make you bring two different lists? Maybe like one's more anti-magic if they're saying they're playing thousands.
Corn Demons versus Corn Marines.
Yeah, like
no.
You would get saucy with it?
No. Smash face.
Wow.
Smash face.
Well, I definitely I just like Kill Team has the build your roster, you know, from your command roster, Infinity with a double list. It's really exciting. It adds another dynamic to the game, and it helps with just like the command roster does with Kill Team. It helps eliminate those that you know, everybody hates it when they're 2 points over or they're trying to squeeze this one concept that just can't go with these other concepts, and it feels good to be able to do both, like to have it all kind of thing. Get to have your cake, eat it too, kind of deal.
Certainly.
If you're greedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of like on the Talking Infinity thing where like rewarding the knowing thy enemy thing, I think that exists very much in 40K as well. I mean, you know, if you walk into a tournament and you're not familiar with what like Iron Hands can do and you just start playing them wrong, I mean, the game is usually decided in the first like 3 turns more or less. And if you don't know what they can do, like, you're going to get wrecked. Like,
yeah.
And that's not just an Iron Hands thing. Like, that's, like, very much a, like, you know, like, if I show up with Tyranids and bring 18 Hive Guard, for example, and you don't even position yourself a little bit to go after my Hive Guard, just let me, like, nuke you for the first 3 turns, like, you're done. Like,
what do you think about another mechanic I like the hidden information aspect of Infinity. And I think it would be badass if you did not know who your enemy's warlord was, and you know that there was some sort of negative factor that happened when you found who that was and killed it.
I don't hate. I mean, there used to be, for example, like similar to like the Ethereals for Tau. I think there used to be at one point in 40K, like stuff would have like at least like a negative leadership penalty when your warlord died. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of it being unknown to a certain effect. Like, you know, you shouldn't necessarily know who the warlord is right out the gate, and maybe specific characters, like named characters, would have to be the warlord, so it was obvious. But barring that, you know, it adds up real quick when your warlord is like a buff character, and it's like, oh, well, why are these hitting on 2s? Oh, because he's in range of an aura that creates that. Well, okay, I know your army well enough to know that this has to be your warlord.
Sure. So it's like, it doesn't have to, you know, sometimes even in Infinity, it's like, it's no secret. It's obvious it's this guy or whatever, you know, and that's the fun of it. But I don't know. Now I'm thinking it'd be a fun, or we're gonna see me create some sort of wacky format where I basically take Infinity rules and transfer them into 40K.
I mean, there's definitely some refreshing merit to be had with it. I mean, I know, for example, like even before I'd heard you get into Infinity, I'd always kind of been curious about more like D10s and D20 systems because, you know, you can get a more variable flex on statistics instead of it being, you know, 16%. It's like, oh, a 10% chance. Oh, a 5% chance. And that in itself helps you build a more variable game. But I don't know. I'm still in a weird place with 40K right now, not just because of the move. Not that I'm by any stretch of the imagination stopping, but like I've been shifting a little bit more to hobby stuff myself and not doing that well. So trying to, you know, kick that horse into gear.
Yeah, nice. Speaking of hobby stuff, I know James, I got a couple pictures from the man here. Here's your badass Corn Demon Prince with his Skull Reaver axe, a proper axe.
Yeah, I'm kind of painting him as we speak.
Nice. Where's the axe from again?
The axe is a Bloodthirster axe.
That's familiar.
Just looks massive on him.
Because he's a demon prince.
Yeah. No, it's tight. But he's definitely like much more sizable than a demon prince. He's like Scarbrand height, yeah.
No, definitely smaller. He's the size of a normal demon prince, but because I have wings on him, he's like an extra like inch and a half taller.
Oh, wow. Can you put some side by side right now, or? Yeah, he's definitely much bigger than a demon prince.
Okay, no, but if you look at where the top of this dude's wing is to where he stands, it's the same size. His wings are what make it bigger.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna make it so everybody can see you a bit better here.
I can see what James is saying there. I mean, on height from like the top of the head of the demon prince you're working on, he's definitely taller. That's where the wingspan is on the classic demon prince.
His stature is just significantly bigger than that guy, dude. His legs.
Yeah, but I'm saying this dude's not supposed to have wings. I put wings on him.
He looks badass.
But see, that's the thing is people build and like model for advantage, like taking like the Raven Guard dude and putting him on a smaller base, and the jump pack dudes and putting them on standing bases. All these people model for advantage. I clearly model for a disadvantage because all my models are much bigger on the same small base that they're supposed to be on, and you can just see them everywhere. Like my berserkers have an extra body sticking off the base.
Fuck yeah!
But you can shoot better with your berserkers.
Disadvantage. Oh. That have no gun?
Exactly.
Genius, dude.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
Genius.
I'm like inspired to play 40k right now.
I go hard into the paint right now.
All I'm trying to do is just like have some ludicrous shit, like basically like that. Just fucking, I want just craziness and wackiness and like try to Hail Mary my way to killing things.
Damn right.
Oh, dude, that's literally this army that I'm building is 100% corn. Every miniature is going to be converted in some way or another, and it's all going to be modeled to disadvantage. All of it.
I love it.
Oh, speaking of which, James, any progress?
And I'm going to play a shitty army. What?
I was going to ask, have you worked at all on any more on the Blood Bowl stuff? I know you were like talking about working on that. I hadn't seen any stuff turned out on that front.
Dude. Haven't even decided the faction. Definitely.
Oh man, that's gonna be a cool army too. I'm sure.
I don't know what to do.
I'm struggling to help as well because we don't really, without rules, we don't really have any definitive. I've had a lot of people say get this, get that, but like I just don't really know what the fuck we're doing. There's like a Chaos Warband box plus add-ons is what people suggest. A lot of the stuff that we liked most was like Forge World. I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know what to fucking buy either. So if somebody wants to like post, because we've heard the Chaos Pact, we've heard the just get this Chaos band and get this add-on. Like we want to play Chaos, we want to play Dwarves, we want the big Forge World Dwarf lawnmower guy. We need links. It's way too confusing. And then there's like, I guess we got to get a book. I have no idea how to like combine.
All right, so when I said I wanted to play this game, like I'm eventually gonna play it. Still know when it's happening.
Right.
Stars got to have aligned. At least I opened it up to the universe that I'm down to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's positive. It's positive. Well,
then if the shops closed guys like motivate me further, then we're gonna get somewhere.
Yeah, you got a chitin done. That's pretty cool. Blam.
Yeah.
I got some pictures up of the. It arrived today, James. Looking.
Yeah. Good. I really hope you get some cool like photos with a good camera with that.
Yeah, I could use some good photos. Yeah, it's on the shelf right now though, looking sweet. And you finished that up from our good friend Brandon from Battleground. So excited to have that in the studio, and the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Kelly having it as well.
He's the man.
Tight. Speaking of which, George, you talk at all to Ali recently?
I haven't seen him in a hot sec.
Just 'cause I want to make sure that chitin gets sent to James' way. I'm sure that it's in his possession by this point.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a hot sec.
You just hit him up myself.
I just saw Dylan Shannon in the thread there. I forgot that Dylan did bring by. But he brought me some boards. Dylan brought me everything we needed to play Blood Bowl. He brought me like 2 teams, if not more.
Oh wow! Oh wow.
So I have at the shop right now. If you were local, James, multiple teams and the full boards and all the dice and all the good stuff. He brought me like bags and cases. I was like, dang, I didn't expect that. So that stuff's chilling there, just begging to be played with. I was just gonna set it all up and look at it, just to look at how cool it looks. I'm not super
Do
trying to play. I would play the fuck out of it if I was hanging with shops closed and you, James. But you know,
Yeah, drinking that beer.
another game in the repertoire right now.
It's so funny how they're like a 40K podcast that is slowly venturing into Blood Bowl and like AOS and Lord of the Rings, like the GW games.
Yep.
But like their only sponsor is a beer sponsor. It's so awesome.
Yeah, Shops Closed is hilarious. You guys got to go check them out. You can they do Facebook Live videos. They're looking on getting into YouTube and then to make podcasts. So check out Shops Closed. Great guys out there in the Wisconsin and Illinois area.
They're doing the damn thing.
Doing the damn thing, man. Lots of episodes. You know, I was looking at like I said, we were trying to get organized and disciplined. We're like 400 plus videos uploaded at this point.
Woo!
Yeah, it's a lot of videos. This is episode 78.
Nice.
Hell, for we know it, we'll be on the 104th episode on the way. But man, I'm really looking forward to. Oh, what's he saying? There's a tournament cookout this weekend. Like I was telling you, dude, Blood Bowl Cats have the cookout. Yeah, dang, this weekend's gonna be hot and heavy, man. We got Infinity Saturday, Kill Team Saturday, Warcry Sunday, and then also Blood Bowl's going down. Who knows what else is happening? Nuts. There's a lot of game systems going down at Battlegrounds all the time. It's a sweet place. Yeah, man. So I'm looking forward to everything, especially Baltimore Brawl. But that's just me and Infinity again. I'm looking forward to Kill Team too. I'm gonna play some.
It's like, I don't even know how to say to George anymore. He's just like, I'm Kill Team. Or no, Infinity. Infinity, everything.
Yeah.
I'm also intrigued to see because in December we have the the Atlanta Open? No, not the Atlanta Open. The whatever it's called.
The Pro Atlanta the $10,000 tournament.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see right before Chapter Approved drops, as well as a host of other Christmas releases.
You know, speaking of which, SoCal Open just completed. That's been a lot of buzz on some pages. Anybody get a chance to catch out top 10? I heard there was a couple Tau in there.
Tau won.
Yeah, Tau won.
Yeah.
There was a lot of different flavors of Imperium floating around in there. But, there was
it was a bunch of new Marines, bro.
Let's say Nick Navati's rocking the Iron Hands, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was one of the top 3. I know he definitely cracked top 10. You're seeing, just in general, a lot of the new Marines right now. They're good.
Yep. Rumor of Jim Vessel rage quitting.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
That was the rumor by a Tyranid player that cheated.
Wow.
Oh, man. I cheated?
Yeah.
I made him quit?
He didn't do so hot at Nova, I know that. Our boy Ali gave him a tough first match.
When he lost the second match at SoCal, he called it quits. But a lot of people stuck up for him and said, dude, the player he was playing was an asshole and cheating, and he just couldn't take it.
Tyranids, man.
I have no idea. I'm just speaking rumors.
Yeah.
You brought up SoCal. I thought about Jim Vessel.
So I think there was an Orc player made it. Orc and Eldar made it up in there too, maybe, or was it all just Imperium and Tau?
I'm pretty sure it's just Imperium Tau.
I'm thinking of Kill Team. Kill Team. There was some Orc players. Beernid 40. I think it's just Beernid 40K. If you guys go check out his channel, great stuff. He did some coverage on the. There was 2 different tournaments that went down that were like GT status for Kill Team at SoCal. And I believe it was definitely Eldar, Orcs, and it was kind of like a good mirage of factions were in the top 8, top 10. I didn't hear much about demons being in the top though. That's sad, and just what's going on there? That's sad.
Yeah, what's going on with those teams?
I don't know, man. I think people have just seen a lot of the Vassal-esque lists, and not to say that that's the reason they're not there, but I think creep has kind of caught up to them very aggressively.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
One thing that was pretty admirable is a guy kind of like proved his worth, where I think he took Space Marines to 3rd at Nova in Kill Team, which usually Adeptus Astartes in Kill Team isn't anything too fantastic.
He's talking about it's amazing, especially if you don't build a full roster.
Exactly. That's the.
It's totally amazing.
Speaking of like not 40K and still within the realm of Games Workshop, George, what is the finger to the pulse on these like new Bone Reaper Ossiarchs or whatever they are?
Oh man, they just hit the shop today. So Will is super pumped. Will,
They look awesome.
great friend and owner of Battlegrounds. He is getting a full army, and we're actually going to be featuring him on the channel very soon because Will's diving in deep. He wanted to have some review of the books and talk about list building and things like that. So looking forward to putting up some deeper content about that. I've been kind of just at a distance, seeing and hearing about the cool things that they have to offer. Apparently, one of the things that went down with not chapter approved, General's Handbook, which is the chapter approved for Age of Sigmar, Nagash, he went up several points, and many people's lists that they were using Nagash in kind of fell apart with the point hike of some endless spells and him himself, and now
cumulative fatigue.
Yeah, one of the main things I've heard about as far as like some of the cheese is that Nagash combos up really well with the new army that's coming out, the Bony Boys, and now you can get him to like a 2-up rerollable. You can basically make like an unkillable Nagash, and it can launch a ridiculous amount of powers. A 2-up rerollable in Age of Sigmar is like next to nothing, like does not exist, you know?
I mean, 2-up rerollable in any game system is gross, but I know in Sigmar that most of the saves are relegated to like 5+.
Yeah, it's a Bloodthirster has like a 4-up, you know.
Crazy.
So that'll be interesting. They also have like some pretty crazy catapults where it's like a 2-up. It's like 3 shots on a 2-up to hit with a 3-up to wound, and then it's a fucking 5 damage weapon. 5 damage. And remember, in Sigmar, damage rolls over. So even hitting infantry,
it's like mortals.
Yeah, it's like 5 bodies. So you take 3, and there's no rule of 3 in that game either. But let's say you take 3 of them. That's 9 attacks that are 2-ups, 3-ups that are 5 damage apiece. It's like 40 fucking 30 some damage on average. You're popping out.
Sounds like the right amount of damage.
Yeah, it's gonna be gross. But I think it's cool because I think it's like hurling like bodies and shit. So that'll be cool. The models are fantastic for sure.
Bring out your dead.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking of something else that was cool there. The Mike Brandt on the Nova competitive kill team thread there on Facebook did like a small poll on would people be interested in an ETC style kill team event next year at Nova. So that's like where you got like the 5-man teams, you know. And it looks like that could be something good.
Yeah.
So I was really hoping for teams next year anyway, something I was asking for.
Wait, I'm not familiar with that format. Is it like everyone at the table at like once, like on one board? How does that work?
Oh, it's really cool. So, and then also just to give a shout out to our boy Connor, he has a channel, Next Rung Gaming.
Lob!
Yep, Connor went out to ATC this past year, and he did some cool coverage that broke down how the process works for pairings. But you have a 5-man team, and out of your 5-man team, no one can have a duplicate faction. And everyone, typically in this format, you're going to see very slated lists. Well, people will bring these very hardcore to deal with something type list, and you have like a kind of a leader. When you hit the table, like I think there's a roll off between the teams, and somebody's like the primary, like they call it the attacker and the defender, and like someone will present an attacker list, and the other team will present 2 defender lists to go up against that attacker, and the attacker will get to choose one of those 2 to go against, and it goes back and forth until all 5 team members are paired up against one another, and you kind of get this pick and choose, like one team chooses the list that they're going to throw up first, and that gives them the advantage of like choosing their table. And so like there'll be 5 simultaneous matches happening, and on one of the tables they'll be like next to 0 terrain, On another table, there'll be like highly packed terrain, and then there'll be like 2 regular tables that are like normal ones. So the way that you pick the people that you're gonna go up against each other, and what tables that you're gonna choose for them to fight on, dictates the strategy of your pairings, which is pretty cool.
So hold on, because this is familiar to me in terms of like 40K, but you're talking about doing this as a kill team thing?
Yeah, so with Kill Team, it'd be just the same kind of concept. Each of the members would play a different. They would each probably have a different roster of a different faction, and there'd be like a roll off between the 2 5-man teams, and it'd be like, okay, George is going to present his Death Guard list. And then the team 2, the other opponents would present 2 lists to go against the Death Guard list, and we would get to pick the list that we choose to go against out of the 2 that they present. Once that pairing is done, you move on to them presenting a person for us to go up against, and we throw 2 different options for them to choose, or whatever, vice versa.
So, what's the next team event that you, me, and James are winning?
I don't know. Are we going to Adepticon? That's the question for me. I need a team if I'm going to go.
Certainly. I'd like to make it up this year. I'm going to be traveling a little bit in January and February. So March may be a little bit of a stretch for me to pull, but I will learn that before November ends for sure.
When's tickets, James? Any idea?
December 7th or 8th. 8th that Sunday.
Okay. Keep vocal about that so we make sure we get those. Because at the very least, we can get rid of the tickets, and we got to grab them up.
December 8th.
Well, not Chris. I mean, Chris never buys a ticket in advance. So.
It's true. I literally, I just show up and get to play. It's worked out for me pretty well so far.
Every time it works, bro.
Yo, I would definitely probably play.
It even works at Nova.
I said Nova.
Right. Yeah, totally. I mean, at this point, I don't even feel the necessity to buy tickets anymore after seeing Chris do it so much. But
yeah, it's true. I mean, last time at Nova, even I was like, man, I showed up for Nova and had not done the correct things to sign in, and then they were like, no, we've got you in the system. I was like, but what? I haven't given you money. They're like, no, you've got it. Just go. I was like, yeah, I know I haven't paid you.
Jesus Christ, you got it for free. Yeah. No kidding.
Champion.
Not only did he not fucking buy a ticket, he got him for free. That's right.
I left my info for them, but they never contacted me back. But I know I didn't give them money.
Well, you drank some extra charity drinks, so no worries.
Hey.
Dirty drinks.
What was that one guy that was underneath the table? You bought him a drink or two.
Oh man, that dude. So there was an incident where there was the what is it called? The tonic bottle that I had with me, and I'd offered it to the gentleman who had clearly, he'd had more than his fill. He had been taking a dirt nap, and he woke up real quick at one point, and I offered it to him, and without even blinking, he snatches it out of my hand and just basically crushes it. And I am in shock, awe, horror, just staring at this poor gentleman who I'm like, oh no, I'm so sorry, to his friend who is propping him up, and I'm just like, this is not going to go well for you, sir.
He was already wrecked, and Chris got him more.
I think he was already down and out before he grabbed it, and his friend.
I saw him go down as he pulled the tablecloth over him like a blanket, and popcorn and shit and drinks he just pulls all that shit on top of him.
Oh man!
Oh, the charity bar, baby.
And as his friend dragged him away. He just gave me side-eyed and was like, thanks. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yep. That was pretty good.
Oh, well.
That was night 1, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah. That was a good-ass time. Yeah, I would like to go to Adepticon. I want to participate in Infinity this time, this year round. But
ooh, you hear this, man? He wants to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I need some compadres to make the drive, man. Planes expensive.
That's not wrong, though. I mean, the mileage on the car adds up as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the plane could be an option too. I guess it's like save up now.
boo.
Yeah, I'll take the bus. It'll be fine. Point infinity.
Dude, you can put them in your pocket.
Exactly.
Planes, trains.
I wonder if Warcry. I definitely would get into that too. I just want to play all the skirmish games all weekend long.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of things on that horizon now, for anyone who hasn't checked them out, there is a ton. This is actually also relevant to the Age of Sigmar, the Bone Reaper, Asaya, whatever they are, Bone People, something with bone words. But we have a lot of holiday box sets coming out.
It's true.
And I don't know if you've checked them out at all. The Chaos one seems to be decent. It is kind of reminiscent of. It has a Venom Crawler in it, which we haven't seen since what is it? The Shadow Spear box.
It's the Shadow Spear box set. It's that half, and then the Marines is the other half.
Yep, it basically turned the Shadow Spear box into 2 boxes. The Tyranid box, the Drukhari box, and the Admech box seem to be, by a wide margin, the big winners, with the biggest loser, in my opinion, and I think this is sad to have to say publicly, is the Space Wolves box, which I'm not sure what they were thinking. It's literally the Space Wolves box is 5 Wolfen, an Iron Priest, like 10 Tactical Marines, and a Storm Wolf.
I saw some rumors. New Space Wolf book was coming. People, I don't know where I saw it, but it was just like some random post where people were like starting to talk about Russ and Space Wolves coming.
I hope so, man.
I got excited.
Dude, it's people trying to manifest in the universe.
Yeah.
Oh, also, among the New Games Workshop stuff, we're seeing they're cracking out the new hobby tools, like new painting handles. They're doing like the priming stations now that are rubber band based, which I think is interesting. I don't know if anyone's seen those. But basically think of it like a rectangular piece of plastic that you can put bases on and put rubber bands down to like keep the models from falling. So you can like batch spray them in a line.
That's cool.
Interesting stuff.
This is good.
Yeah, I completely agree, James. I mean, this is another one of those things where it's like it's kind of interesting to see Games Workshop. They're also making finally the paint pot holders, and their paint pot holders hold 3 paint pots, which at like $8 for that thing is a value to be fair. But at the same time, like it just seems like it's one of those things that like the community has been solving on its own for so long that I'm kind of like. Interesting choice, Games Workshop. I mean, it's cool that you're showing up for this party, but you know, at the same time, like,
where the fuck have you been?
You guys could have done this forever ago.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, you know, at least they're getting hip to the game there, and you know,
they're trying. I just want them to fix terrain rules right now. I think a good cohesive set of terrain revamps could put the game in a much different place right now.
Yeah, what's some of the things that you would like to see?
I mean, I would like to see a lot more focus on keywords relevant to terrain. You know, like a lot of pieces of terrain simply becoming keyword dependent. Like, you know, if you're infantry and you're touching this kind of terrain, you just get a bonus to cover, which, you know, at the same time, like, isn't super different than the current situation, but I think just some cleaning up of things could be beneficial. Even just like, for example, like swarms touching a hill, like as long as they're touching the hill, maybe you can't get line of sight on them because they're burrowing or whatever. Like there's all kinds of wonky things they could do. I'm not saying I have the right answer, but I've seen a lot of people discuss ad nauseum different types of solutions. Because like right now, the whole like ITC bottom level of terrain thing blocking I mean, there's definitely, I think, at least in organized play, a little bit of field bats. I think is too strong of a term, but I think that it's not appreciated that the ITC as a format is having to take stands in to weigh in on changing the terrain format.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like if Games Workshop would just be like, "Hey, do this."
Yeah. That's another thing about an amazing factor about Infinity is that they have, the one way they solve this, and I was just imagining in my mind if 40K had this or something, but they have silhouettes. Every single model. It doesn't matter how you model it. There is no modeling for advantage in that game at all because everything has on its profile its silhouette type, going from 1 upwards to like 7 or 8. And it's these, you get these little silhouette templates that show what in a rectangle, the size of the model, no matter what's sticking out or whatever. So they're like those swords that point out or a Tyranid with all these spindly bits that would normally be really cool, but you don't almost want to do it because it makes you more targetable. Now you can just put this silhouette to the edge of your base, and it'll show exactly what is the profile of the model for someone to be able to target you. And if they because I would like to see things like a Lord Discordant or all the way up to a Knight, things that are really tall. It pisses me off that they can't have any access to things that are literally at the same height as them. Like a Knight should be able to wreck something on a second floor if his arms are towering at that second floor,
I mean, consistently I have that problem with Tyranid monsters creatures, like the Trigon and the Moloch. They're half of their bodies get to the second floor of most ruins, but because they don't have wings, it's like, oh yeah, you just don't get to get into combat. This infantry scout ran to the second floor of this building, he's safe.
Yeah, I want something that looks
aggravating.
Something that's 2 stories tall, 3 stories tall, the size of a building next to a little human. I want it to be able to feel like that,
I agree with that whole monster keyword should maybe go along with that or Titanic. But Knights do have a stratagem detection on the other floors.
That's true.
And not only that, but they only have to be so far from the building, so they get extra range to their charge.
Yeah,
true.
And in respect to that, they just need to be more universal with it,
Yeah.
Henry makes a good point in the chat, and this is something that exists in 40K rules, but it's not really played popularly. The building rules, he voices, it'd be cool to be able to destroy and shoot at buildings. That would be cool. I think that traditionally the building destruction rules have had things things inside of it take D6 strength 4 hits if it explodes or something like that.
That is one way. Interestingly enough, the Tau
castle.
Yeah, the tide wall, the Tau tide wall. It operates like I would like to see, kind of like that. It's a piece of It's not. It actually counts as a vehicle. And you embark upon it, and whenever you do any measuring from that piece for any of the guys inside shooting or a unit inside, you would measure from any point of that building. And they actually wrote this into the Apocalypse rules, the new 2019 Apocalypse rules, where if you are embarked into a ruin or a building, then basically from there you just measure from any point of that building as if you were measuring from your models. And that would, if they had that kind of element of being able to embark into a piece of terrain and disembark from the terrain, and you kind of just operated from that piece from there, then the bottom floor thing wouldn't matter quite as much.
True.
You could do that true, you either embark onto that piece of terrain, or you're not going to just hope that it's going to cover you as a wall blocking line of fire, and just give more access. I think it's important more so, and one thing that makes pieces of one thing I really like about the Coastal Wargaming guys' terrains is all their L shapes, all their walls. No matter what the piece of terrain is, it always has that flat platform.
Yeah.
I think that's really important for terrain, and usually, a lot of the game out of U terrain we have doesn't have that element. It's just this big piece of line of sight blocking, and without some sort of base underneath it, it doesn't create that area terrain that's kind of a part of the gameplay,
Well, and we used to see a lot more. I think only recently, I think mostly Eighth Edition, have we seen kind of the gravitation away from like explicitly stated area terrain. And I think that kind of for the convenience of gamers is useful because it's not there's no argument over are you in this building or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you either are or you aren't.
Yeah, obviously, it's a balance of theme and like looking cool and not getting too, because like that's one of the sad parts about like Malifaux is it's a game that gets very two dimensional and like they like everything's so millimeter close that you can't they just could not have terrain obscuring or causing problems with their measurements or how a model sits. Like it needs to be flat and accurate. And I definitely don't want to go swing the pendulum so far that it's like that kind of stuff. Like I want thematic.
Or even like War Machine, where like the terrain almost has to be two dimensional. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I certainly. Yeah, maybe that's what I meant. War Machine hordes versus Malifaux. Maybe that's a little different. But yeah, we don't want it to be two dimensional. And I already find like one of the things I'm in love with about Infinity is that the boards are all very unique and interesting, and a lot of corridors, and it's a rich part of the game. And the Nova open style cookie cutter terrain type is not my favorite. I do love how Adepticon had the place to terrain as part of the setup. And I'm excited for the tournament we throw on February 22nd, our second major event. It's going to do Adepticon missions and playstyle, and I assume that arranging the terrain might be a part of the setup, which will be, I think, is fun.
Ooh. Before we close out, and while we're still on this topic, I did have a recent conversation that I thought was interesting in terms of the health of the game. So we have with the Atlanta event where they're doing kind of the more like matched kind of like Call of Duty map style where like, you filter through terrain maps, and you have the Nova style format, which has like one set of terrain constantly plugged forward. Like this is what it is. This is what it is. In the name of that, creating artificial metas. Because like you literally have armies that do better at Nova because the terrain is always consistent.
Yep.
That's kind of another gripe that I have with the current terrain system is that like I think it's kind of encouraged these independent formats to preset the terrain extremely aggressively. I mean, I would love to see Games Workshop say, hey, for tournament play, we're using these 2 maps. We're using these 3 maps. These are the 3 you want to play. Instead of like, hey, here's 12 maps. Because that kind of like variability, I think, is something that tournament organizers struggle with, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And it creates its own metas.
Yeah, I just like the terrain type. It's the double L's in the middle, the forest on the sides, and then your flanking diagonal pieces. Just like when it all looks the same, it starts to make me sad. And I don't know necessarily how they could make that a little bit more dynamic. Maybe there used to be night fighting. They did give us prepared positions. That was the last fix they had to that turn.
It's true.
Which just at that point terrain barely. Only thing that mattered at that point was line of sight blocking terrain because everything counted as terrain if you wanted to spend the CP on it. I don't know. Make fortifications a free fucking detachment. Games Workshop, get it together.
Oh my god,
that'd be huge. But I want more craters.
Sure.
Like this is like a GW like cash grab if they ever wanted to do it. Is bring back when vehicles explode instead of like marking them with markers and being wreckage. You just have to buy a crater that's like certain size GW, and you put the crater there, and now you have more crater terrain.
That'd be cool. I would enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, I very fondly remember the days where like. Oh, like you would glance a vehicle to death and it wouldn't explode. So like you would just have like, oh, this vehicle is now line of sight blocking terrain, or like, hey, it exploded. Now it leaves a crater.
Yeah. I think that would like be able to change a game up. Like you could actually use that in strategy, especially with all these auto explode stratagems.
And like stuff like Rhino Rush with like aggressive stuff like Khorne Berserkers, I think becomes very interesting in that situation.
Yeah, because if the Rhino doesn't blow up, then you take the guys out and they're behind it with line of sight cover. Like, how huge that would be for me? Or
dude, that would be very dynamic.
And now they're in a crater.
Yeah.
I like it.
Ruben needs to be like, wee.
Yeah, there's so many good power armor things that could utilize that.
Yeah, you're right.
And now AdMech that have transports that are super
so
cheap.
many.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, GW, you could sell a lot of craters.
It's true.
You move those creators Games Workshop, you're getting good free information from real, experienced gamers of like one of the primo close combat armies. Hop on it, man. You'll sell all kinds of coin berserkers.
Or we'll 3D print you some.
Oh!
Yeah, seriously.
Craters.
Yeah, I haven't tried to 3D print any critters yet. That'd be kind of cool.
I have.
Did it go okay?
Yeah, craters are great.
Nice. Hey, you know what? Big news, James.
Hey, craters again.
It's not that great. It's like it's kind of cool. All right. So in the latest White Dwarf, there's a Soul Grinder detachment, but it's for Slaanesh. But they made Soul Grinders great again. They're not actually great. They're just better. They're playable.
Wait, is it for 40K?
Nah, it's Age of Sigmar. There's a Soul Grinder Slaanesh detachment, Age of Sigmar, that's 1 to 3 Soul Grinders, and you get like +1 to hit and +1 to your save.
Sounds like you're just a liar. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, so
See,
they're thinking about making Soul Grinders great again.
it's so interesting to me, George, and this is a memory lane kind of like rose tinted glasses, old hammer gamer thing. But like, I kind of have like a weird feelings on the Soul Grinder because I almost feel like once that model got made, the Defiler got left in the dust like forever. And like when I was growing up, it was always like, oh, this giant clawed Defiler crab beast was coming down the field ready to smash some face. I want to see both models back on the table.
Dude, Defilers are back on the table. It's just Chaos Space Marine suck.
I've always thought Defilers look
fair.
I never liked the way Defilers look compared to the Soul Grinder, but
I agree.
Demon Lover. They're kind of like a Demon Minotaur with spider legs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it makes Soul Grinders great again. GW, listen to us, but don't ever pay attention to the kind of artwork and stuff. Like, don't ever sue us. And
do we advertise for free?
Yeah, we're totally cool. GW, fist pound.
Honestly, you owe us a bunch of money.
Yeah, you should give us money.
Money.
But yeah, Baltimore Brawl's coming up. Adepticon. Even before Adepticon, we're gonna throw a major to kick off the 2020 ITC season right after LVO in January. This weekend is Kill Team on Saturday, Warcry on Sunday, also Infinity on Saturday for Battlegrounds, and apparently Blood Bowl barbecues going down at Battlegrounds. So it's gonna be a killer weekend. Lots of good stuff to come. We're gonna get very organized and disciplined and provide a lot more content. And if you've been missing Warcry, Kill Team, and 40K and Age of Sigmar, I'll put Infinity on a more regulated basis and get back to getting you guys the content that you're familiar with. Otherwise, I hope you've gotten curious about Infinity and wanted to look deeper and enjoy that stuff as well. But it's been another good episode, boys. Anything else we want to cover or say?
Nah, man.
Chapter approved.
Infinity talk that you could possibly talk about.
Yep. Infinity chapter approved is a good concept. I would
nerf Marines, make Tyranids and Chaos a thing. Yeah. I don't know, buff Grey Knights, do something like that. Necrons.
Yeah. Make Soul Grinders great again.
Golden shower for everyone.
Wow. Woo! Okay. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. We appreciate you tuning in. And happy Halloween. Yeah. Keep taking fun seriously. We'll catch you next time, friends. Peace.